Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Rope Break podcast with me and Dan. So we are going to be talking this one's going to be about WrestleMania. So much went down at WrestleMania. We had 5 shows in 4 days, so there was so much crammed in. So let's get straight into it.
Yeah.
So so let's get straight into it. Stand and deliver. I think it's the best place to start.
Yeah. I think if we include like SmackDown and Hall of Fame,
we had the Andre the Giant memorial thing where it was the 3 at the end. They seem to be very heavily pushing Reed at the moment.
Yeah. And Ricochet.
Yeah, Ricochet as well. Yeah. Both of them are sort of getting a bit of a push, I think. But more so on Bronson Reed. I don't know like where they're going to go with him. I mean, he's on WWE Speed at the moment as well, and he's progressing along there. So it'd be interesting to see how that goes. Yeah. But yeah, he won that on SmackDown. But yeah, I don't think really anything. It was just a filler, I think, SmackDown for us.
Yeah,
it really actually happened apart from a few little bits, but nothing really. It was the anticipation for obviously WrestleMania.
Yeah, but I mean, I actually thought it was a very, very good SmackDown.
Yeah,
but I think it did a very good job of making you excited for the weekend.
I think that was the hype. It started and it just didn't go away. I mean, going back to Stand and Deliver, a perfect way to start.
Yeah.
It was a good pay-per-view. I wouldn't say it was the best pay-per-view that they put on, or the best PLA or whatever you want to call it now.
No.
But yeah, it was good. I mean, did you see the start match obviously with Braun Breaker and Corbin?
Yeah. It wasn't actually me who spotted it. It was my girlfriend. She we were talking about I was going to save it for the end of the podcast, but I'll just say it now because it makes sense now. Basically, one of my best friends, Colin, he wasn't overly keen on WrestleMania, and I understand why. When me and you did this podcast a week ago, and we said who we thought would win the matches, almost every single one that we said would happened, and I think that is probably the only thing that you can say was a negative, really, was that a lot of the matches were predictable.
We predicted them, yeah.
You knew who was going to win virtually every match. Like, I really thought Owens or Orton would win that match, whereas you said it was Logan Paul, and Logan Paul. It's like even the ones where like me and you kind of had a bit of like you thought Io might retain, and I was like, no, it's definitely Bayley. Like, and obviously Bayley did win. And they were the only two. Like the other 10 matches, we all said the same thing, and it ended up being, but somehow when we were watching, we were talking about Stand and Deliver, because what I said was, Colin was saying that he was disappointed with a lot of the actual wrestling, because he likes AEW. I think he watches more WWE than AEW. But I think he prefers a lot of what AEW does, because he's the style of wrestling fan where in between the ropes, what happens in the ring, the actual wrestling is what's most important to him. Whereas to me and you and a lot of other people, it's the storylines is what is most important, and that the actual moves that they do to tell that story is kind of like come secondary to the story. That's just personal preference. And what I said to Bex, my girlfriend, was I said, if you actually look at the quality of the actual wrestling, Stand and Deliver was probably a higher standard of actual wrestling than what WrestleMania was, in my opinion. And then she said, was it Stand and Deliver, weren't we supposed to get Sean Spears versus Joe Gacy? I went, yeah. But we've watched the whole pay-per-view. But
where was it?
But we've not seen that match.
No.
I was like, I don't understand what happened there. I don't. But I googled it and I was like, they did have the match. It's here. I've got the result here. But we watched the whole pay-per-view from start to finish.
I think it was on the pre-show.
Right. Well, that doesn't make any sense, but that makes it. You know, I don't know why they put it on the pre-show, but yeah, it was. But yeah, I stand by that point. I think the actual quality of the wrestling in WrestleMania was good, but it wasn't WrestleMania. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like that elevated. It was. If you look at a lot of the matches, some of the matches you'd see quality like that on a Monday Night Raw and a SmackDown. Some of the matches was like pay-per-view kind of, you know, they were a little bit elevated. It was more of a pay-per-view match. But I think when it's WrestleMania, I think we expect a little bit more. We expect the matches to be a little bit higher in quality. But I think in terms of, you know, drama and theatre and cinema and, you know, emotion and, you know, storytelling, for me, it was the best in terms of storytelling, and so many different stories told in an incredibly powerful and emotional way. I think it's probably the best WrestleMania of all time. I think the best WrestleMania as a whole in 10 years. In my opinion, I don't think it's better than WrestleMania 30. I think, you know, if you actually look at the quality of that with, you know, Daniel Bryan winning both belts and stuff in the same night, I think if you look at the actual card of WrestleMania 30 and you watch the quality of the matches, I think WrestleMania 30 was probably slightly better. But I think this was a great WrestleMania, and I think one thing that has surprised me is most people that I've read comments of, you know, when you're on Twitter or someone goes, "So what did you make of this WrestleMania?" And I've read through hundreds of comments, and 90% of people have been giving it a 9 out of 10, a 10 out of 10. The vast majority of people absolutely loved it.
Yeah, it was a combination. I think the reason is because we were so invested. Like, we've been invested in this for like a year, really, with Cody finishing the story.
Yeah.
You know, and then we've had like 2 or 3 months of actual massive build up. You know, The Rock coming back, Drew as well, standing up. It's been there's been a huge build, more than normal, than I would say normally, because normally they say, "Oh, WrestleMania starts at the Royal Rumble." Normally we get a pay-per-view in between, and then there's a big push. But actually, even before, you know, most of this has been built up since last year. So I think we're emotionally invested in a lot of the matches.
Yeah.
But going back to Stand and Deliver, did you think the matches were like? Obviously, you said they were like, you know, the quality of the matches were really good. What did you think of the whole pay-per-view? Sort of like, any of the matches stand out for you or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think every time I watch Bron Breakker, I just see Star. I think he's going to be.
He's going to be huge.
He's going to be incredible. He's going to be, you know, give him another couple of years, and I think he'll be one of the biggest names on the main roster. I think he's so incredibly talented, and I think the one thing that probably was missing from him was seeing a little bit of character. And I think from him being partnered with Baron Corbin, it's allowed him to show his comedic side, and I think he's come across really funny, and he's getting a bit more confidence with talking on the mic and getting his personality and character over. Every time I see him, I think he's incredible. And I also, for years, I've been saying this, and I've not changed my mind yet. Baron Corbin is incredibly
underrated.
Massively underrated.
Hugely underrated, Baron Corbin. I don't know why.
I think in terms of the match that probably stood out the most, I really enjoyed it. Ilya Dragunov versus Tony D'Angelo. I thought it was a fantastic wrestling match. I really thought it was superb. Obviously the story and the emotion was kind of more in the Mello and Trick match. In my opinion, the Ilya Tony match was probably a better match. That probably should have been the main event, to be honest.
I was surprised they went with. I know why they went with Trick and Mello, because
the story.
And not only that, Trick is so over. It's unbelievable. I mean, they were even chanting at WrestleMania
Yeah, I know.
on night one. So you know what I mean. He's so over. But I sort of felt that they put it on as the main event because I think they're moving. They're going to move up. I've got a funny feeling they're going to move up to the main roster.
Yeah.
Maybe that was like their go home show. I don't know, maybe that's like a farewell match or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was surprised that that, like you said, that the Dragunov match and that was put on not at the end, not as the main event, because I thought it was a better match.
Was it? Yeah, it was a
than
better match.
Crit and Mello, but no, it's just us, I suppose. I wasn't surprised by Roxanne.
No, she's fantastic.
Yeah, she's really, really good. They're really playing on the heel character for her, and it just seems like the right time for her to drop the title and for her to pick it up, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Also, you got to think as well. She was injured, and she only got the title because of the injury and stuff like that. So it was a title she never really lost. It'd be interesting to see where they go with this. What happens with that? But yeah, I think overall, I thought to be fair, I thought the best match on the whole card, looking back on it, was the triple threat North American match.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it was.
That for me, that was the best match on the whole card.
Yeah,
that was Oma Feme, Dijak. That proved what they like. They were doing cruiserweight moves.
Yeah,
the bit where Oma Feme had the two of them on his shoulders.
Yeah,
that just, you know what I mean. It's.
I do think we should give Josh Briggs a shout out as well, because I think he's always, you know, I think even going into people's going, oh, I'm looking forward to that match. You know, Oma Feme and Dijak are amazing. It's like no one even mentions like Josh Briggs. But
no, well, not only that, Josh Briggs. It came up on the matches we saw that he has got more than what has been shown. Yeah. Secondly, well, when he came out, no fan reaction.
No,
none. When I was like, okay, he's not there. But that match proved that I think he's quality enough to be included.
Yeah. I mean, he more than hung with both of them.
Yeah, you know,
he didn't see him out of place, and I think we will talk about it later. But I think the same can be said about Rock in his match as well. I was very impressed, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So
yeah. But Sandy Lee was a good starting point. Obviously, it was the morning before night one.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the North American match was the best match on the card for me. Then it was Dragunov. Then it was Trick, and then further down, sort of thing. Then it was. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was a good starting point.
Yeah, it got us pumped for
Mania.
Mania, it definitely did. I thought it was superb, and hats off to Shawn Michaels and all of the wrestlers that put what was an amazing show, and it's the biggest show in terms of gate number. So I thought it was. I don't think it could have done a better job. Really, I watched it and then I was so excited for Mania Night One after watching it. I think it was perfect, and it you know did that. That build-up position really, really well. I do kind of want to say though, I think we as fans need to probably accept that a return for AJ Lee is probably never happening. I think I just, you know, it's for me. I think if you look at the fact that the Hall of Fame last year, Buddy Matthews was sat next to Rhea Ripley. Now, Buddy's under contract with AEW. Aleister Black was sat next to his wife, Zelina Vega. Obviously, Malachi's at AEW. This year, you had Keith Lee sat next to Mia Yim, obviously his wife. Keith Lee's at AEW. Yeah, AJ Lee's not signed for any rival company, and yet CM Punk, I know he was sat next to Paul Heyman's son and daughter, but like, if she was there, should have been sat next to him. And it's like, why is she not there at events like that? And she hasn't been. She hasn't been at any event. And you know, she wasn't at, apparently, again, I don't know how true it is, apparently she wasn't at the Royal Rumble, and you're like, your husband after 10 years is making his televised in-ring debut, and it's such a big thing. You would expect her to be there.
I'm wondering whether she's
Doesn't it?
sort of stepped back just in case she's photographed and people start losing their minds, sort of thing.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've just got a feeling. Do you know what? I just think she doesn't. I think she doesn't want to wrestle again. I just don't think she has any interest in it. And you know, if that's look, the only thing that I can see her coming back would maybe be if Punk asks her to. Like if obviously when he's fit, I think the first person who's going to be in a rivalry is Drew, and then after that, obviously, I think leading into Mania next year, I think it will be Punk and Seth. I think that'll definitely be the match at Mania next year. And I think if a pay-per-view before that they decide to do a tag match where it was Seth and Becky versus Punk and AJ, that kind of could potentially.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're in a point now where never say never. You know, we had, you know, Stone Cold returned last year, and like the year before, I should say, I think, and he said he would never return to wrestling. He did. Fought Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, The Rock even. Obviously, there's been a few people that said that that's it, they're over, and then it comes back. I'm still waiting for Batista, because he's turned around and said that's it. You know, he's never coming back to WWE. He's never wrestling again. You know, I would say never at this point, even though he said he has. But everyone has come back when they said that anyway. But yeah, so should we get on to night one?
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll try and do the matches in order, but we might mix them up. But I'll try my best. Obviously, the first match was Rhea and Becky.
Yeah. The entrance for Rhea Ripley was awesome.
Yeah.
The live band there. But yeah, like I said on the last podcast we did, I could see Rhea retaining. It was just obvious, just because that doesn't take anything away from Becky Lynch, because she done really well in that match.
I think Becky Lynch did really well considering everything. I mean, she had a fever of 102. You know.
Yeah.
Apparently there was a lot of people backstage that wanted to pull the match because of how poorly she was, and she was like, absolutely fucking not. You know, but you know, I massive respect to her, and you know,
I think it was it Pat or Cole? One of them said that she's not well.
Yeah,
she's really bad all day.
And apparently, about half an hour before Mania started, Triple H had seen her and was like, "You're not in any fit position to wrestle." Apparently, she was really, really poorly. So, you know, massive respect to her for going out there and putting on a match as good as they did. Obviously, Rhea's very bravely said that she was having panic attacks.
Had a panic attack. Yeah, just before coming out.
Which, you know, I think just makes fans fall in love with her even more. That, you know, that kind of, you know, openness, and you know, you can relate to her even more, because I'm thinking, shit, if I was going to have to walk out in front of 72,500 people, I'd be having a panic attack and all.
Yeah,
if I were walking down that bloody walkway in front of all them people, you'd see a bloody brown trail behind me.
Yeah.
So yeah,
but yeah, yeah, it was a good start.
It was a good start.
Yeah. Live entrance music. They looked good. Becky done really well considering like she was ill, but also she done well anyway. So I kind of thought since she came back, she had done quite well, but I thought that she had like laid off a lot of stuff, if you know what I mean. It wasn't as. But yeah, it was good. It was a good match.
Yeah,
good start.
It's surprising, you know. Imagine what would have happened if she was fully fit, if they were both fully fit, you know. Because I suffer with panic attacks. I have them a lot, and it drains a lot of energy out of you, a lot of it. So imagine if both of them hadn't gone through that, how good the match should have been then. But yeah, no, it was a great match. Obviously, the next match for me was, in terms of wrestling quality, stole night one for me, which was the ladder match.
Yeah, it was. I heard some criticism about that on Twitter and places like that, saying that there were too many teams in there. There was a lot going on. I thought it was perfect. Obviously, I was shocked with the result because I did say Awesome Truth were going to win.
Yeah.
And I did say that it would have been funnier if Truth. Well, there was some funny moments in it anyway.
Yeah.
But it would have been better if I think they had Truth pull both of them and then give the other one DIY. But I was surprised with Waller and, Theory.
Yeah.
But then I'm not really, because I can see them having a sort of title run with that. It sort of gives them something. Otherwise, I don't think that they would last very long as a team. But yeah, I think that the two teams that won were the perfect choice.
Yeah.
The spots in the match were brilliant, especially with Priest, and obviously, especially with R-Truth trying to tag in.
Yeah. Look, I think, by the way, my missus called that. She said that she thought it'd be Awesome Truth and Waller and Theory. She called it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, she called, and it's because she was asking me like who I thought would win, and I said the same as you. I said I think R-Truth's going to give one titles to who he thinks is DX.
Yeah.
And then I think him and Miz will win the others. And I said, like I said on the podcast with Kev, my only problem with that is they're both on Raw, and they do want to split the tag titles up. So and that's obviously when she went, well, the only team from SmackDown I can see winning that is Waller and Theory, and Triple H keeps saying after WrestleMania will be in a new era, and that, I mean, giving Waller and Theory the titles is kind of this. It's a new era. They're the young up and coming talents, and I think Waller and Theory. I like them. I think they're both very, very good. I think Theory is incredible in the ring, not great on the mic. Whereas I think Waller's very, very good on the mic, and I think he's also very good in the ring.
Yeah.
For me, I think the most shocking. I think the part of the match that made me gasp was where Johnny Gargano DDT'd Pete Dunne through the table.
Yeah.
I mean, I've actually never seen that before, because he put Pete Dunne head first through the table. Like, it's always usually the back. It's always the back that goes through the table. It was Pete Dunne's head that broke the table. I was like, holy shit!
Some of the moments in that match were just awesome. But I think the right teams won. Yeah. Looking back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved the way as well that DIY came out to a DX sort of thing, dressed up like him as well. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm wondering how many times the announce tables broke, because they all got a lot during this WrestleMania.
It was all the Spanish announce table as well. It wasn't. It was always
that's a running joke. So if you've watched wrestling for years, you would know that in the early 2000s and late 90s, whenever there was a table broke, it was always the Spanish announce table. Always. And that's like a running joke they've brought back, because I've noticed that they've started introducing the Spanish announce table. Now, normally that was never there. It was just their main one. And they've started adding it. So, normally it's sort of like a running joke. If you've watched wrestling long enough, you'll know that the Spanish announce table always gets destroyed. So I'm wondering if that was part of it. But I think the match itself, I loved Damian Priest. He had a Kane-inspired outfit, if you'd noticed.
Yeah.
It was all fiery. The mask that he wore was also Kane's, but it had other bits on it. And I was like, why has he come up just like Kane? I couldn't really work that bit out. But yeah, he had sort of Kane-inspired outfit. but the mask he wore was actually a cane mask, just purple with like horns on it. But yeah, I thought, yeah, and obviously Finn Balor came out as Scarecrow with the bag over his head.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. I thought, yeah. We didn't see much of them in the match. I thought there was some big moments where they were, but they sort of kept away, which said to me right at the start they're going to lose because just the way that it was all going. But like I said, we knew it was going to happen anyway. But yeah, I'm interested to see where they go with Truth and the Awesome Truth, and Waller and Theory as well. I'd like I you know how much I like Pretty Deadly. I'd love them to have a title run.
Yeah.
But yeah, it like you're saying, there's a new era. So yeah, it's a good. It's like this was like I saw this WrestleMania as sort of like a reset. And Triple H obviously came out and introduced it and said, "This is the new era." It had a new start to it, and it just felt everyone that lost their titles, that was part of the old gang. This is all fresh now, all new champions, all fresh, all going forward, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I think before we move on, while we're talking about Theory and Waller, I don't know if Grayson Waller's going to get in trouble for his tweet yesterday because I mean I was laughing my ass off. I thought it was brilliant.
From the footage from WrestleMania.
Grayson Waller tweeted saying he's going to release backstage footage of him and Theory beating everyone up, and I thought that's like such a blatant dig at AEW.
Well, did you see as well? Dijak put, oh yeah, and there was real glass.
Yeah.
Man,
it's funny.
Dig in it.
Really.
Yeah, brilliant.
Was the next match, I believe, was Dom Mysterio, Santos Escobar versus Ray and Andrade, I believe. Yeah,
it was. And it was a standard match. I can't really say more than that. I thought maybe someone might have turned, like someone had come out and cost them the match. I think a lot of people thought someone would come out and do that. But yeah, it was just it was just like a standard match sort of thing. I don't really know what else to say about it really, other than that.
No, look, we said a week ago that it was that match was just thrown together.
I'm surprised they didn't do it on the pre-show.
I would,
because it's that sort of match. But yeah,
I would like to think that. I don't think you'd stick Rey Mysterio on pre-show, though, would you? I think I would like to think that Dragon Lee was injured, and that's why they did what they did. Because if Dragon Lee isn't injured, that's a really shitty thing to do. Is tell a young lad that has probably been dreaming about wrestling on a WrestleMania his entire life, you're going to be tagging with your hero Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. And then a few days later, go, actually, no, we're pulling you from the match. We're sticking Andrade in there instead. I hope that was the plan all along and that Dragon Lee's injured.
I was surprised, actually, that that he didn't like Andrade didn't turn on Ray. And it was like part of the...
They haven't really...
their plan. Like, he injured Dragon Lee. He gets called up. He costs Mysterio the match. But that didn't happen. I was a bit surprised. That's all.
I'd be surprised if on SmackDown this week it's not revealed that it was Carlito that took out Dragon Lee, and Carlito's been the one, injuring him and because he's obviously pissed that Ray didn't want to tag with him.
Be interesting.
Now, I can't. I'm stuck between two matches for which one was next, but I think it was Jay versus Jimmy next. I think. Don't really matter anyway. If we've got it the wrong way.
Yeah.
But I think it was Jay.
A little bit overwhelmed with that match. I think it should have been more than it was. But then a lot of people were saying that online. And then I thought the other brother matches that we've had have had this, like, apart from obviously Owens and Bret Hart, which was probably one of the best ones going, the Matt and Jeff fight that they had at WrestleMania, that was underwhelming as well, and this was the same. there was something missing from it. That's all.
I was stunned. I'll be completely honest. I was expecting that match to be absolutely incredible, and not only was it not incredible, it was meh.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was just
nothing really happened, and like I think does this kind of show that these two aren't good enough. As over as Jay is, like, but he's over because he does that, and the fans like it's like I like Trick Williams, but Trick Williams isn't over because of what he does as a wrestler. He's over because everyone likes singing "Whoop That Trick." Like the fans like a catchphrase, they like something that they can do to get involved. Jay's over because his music's amazing, but I mean it's basically the Usos music that they've had for years. But that music is amazing, and everyone's always like sung along to it. And obviously, he comes out and he does that, and everyone does it with him. But I think maybe we need to be realistic to the fact that these two probably aren't good enough as singles competitors to be main event singles wrestlers.
Yeah, I thought they're good as a tag team.
They're incredible as a tag team.
Jay's done very well on his own, I think. Jimmy's still not there, but like you're saying, I was expecting more from this match.
Yeah, I thought it was going to steal the night. I thought as a wrestling match and the quality of wrestling, I thought it could have stole the night or even the whole weekend. I was expecting it to be that good. I thought these are identical twins. Their timing and they've always had an incredible connection because they're identical twins. Like the moves that they've done in the ring, the synchronicity of the moves that they've always done in the ring. We know that these two have been open and honest for years, saying that they've been dreaming of this moment since they were kids. Like when they were kids, they weren't dreaming about tagging together. They wanted to have a match against each other at WrestleMania. Yeah. They finally had it, and nothing happened. Like that looked like a match between two people that was just thrown together on a Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, it was like I said. It was I just felt underwhelmed by it. It was just like I was expecting more.
Very disappointing.
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed by it. It doesn't take anything away from it. I think it was, like you say, but this is WrestleMania. So yeah, I was just expecting a little bit more from what it was. It was okay, but yeah,
I think it's the only match that, in terms of standard, it was noticeably below where it should have been. Whereas all of the others, you could argue that, well, this is WrestleMania. Like these matches should have been better than what they actually were.
I think the problem was
visibly under.
Yeah, I think the problem with them as well is that their styles are the same.
Yeah.
The style of wrestling they both have is identical.
Yeah.
So I think that clashes when you have two people that are like the same sort of thing. If you know what I mean, they have the same move sets, the same sort of attitude, sort of thing. It just becomes, you know what I mean? It just gets muddled up. But yeah, it was just.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that, because I think if you look at, when Eddie and Ray fought, they had a very similar style. I think when you look at, I remember people like Rey Mysterio and Andrade, having some amazing matches in Andrade's first run. That's both like a luchador style.
Yeah, I get that, but what I'm saying is Jimmy and Jay, they sort of have the same. They do the super kick. They both have the same sort of splash. They both use the same sort of hand movements. It just
I know what you mean.
It was just a bit blah, like you say. It was okay, but it wasn't. I wouldn't call it WrestleMania moment sort of thing. It wasn't. No. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the only match where I was really disappointed. I was expecting a lot more.
Yeah.
The other match is interesting. It was Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill versus Damage Control.
Yeah, that was like if you didn't know they were going to win, Damage Control was going to lose. You know what I mean? It was just obvious. Why would you build it up? Why would you have Jade Cargill lose effectively like her second match at WrestleMania? And also as well, you got to look at it as well. Those three women against Damage Control. Damage Control was smaller. They're, you know what I mean? They're a bit more nimble. These were like powerhouses. You got Jade Cargill and bloody Bianca Belair are like muscled up to the eyeballs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just seemed a bit of a mismatch. It was one of the it was one of those matches that seemed to just be thrown together.
Yeah.
And also, why was Naomi added to it? That didn't make much sense, really. I was like,
because I think because they needed three, because they wanted the three members of Damage Control to have a match. Yeah. They didn't want to just give. If they'd just give Asuka and Kairi Sane a match, that's a bit shit on Dakota Kai. So they obviously needed a third. And I really like Naomi. I don't like that she's changed the music, because I preferred her old music. I don't think this music
suits her.
Good. I wouldn't say suits her. I just think that her old music was so much better. I think you know, all the fans instantly knew it was her. From the first no, everyone knew it was her, and everyone was up and was dancing and was singing. I don't really understand why you would change that.
Yeah, it sort of says the letters now, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the music's different. I don't. I wouldn't say it doesn't suit her. I just think that her other music was a lot better, and I think it's showing because the music hits and no one cares.
No one gets.
It's a shame because I love Naomi. I think she's fantastic. I do kind of have to mention something that is Raw After Mania related, because it kind of ties in.
Yeah.
I get the whole Jade Cargill thing. I think she is incredible. I think she has an amazing future. I think her entrance is killer. This probably sounds a bit OTT, but I genuinely mean it. This is my favourite entrance for a woman ever.
Yeah,
it is amazing. Her entrance is it's perfect. It is every time I see it.
It's a modification of the one she had in AEW.
Yeah, I just think that her entrance is absolutely killer. I think it's the best entrance I've seen. And you know, I think Rhea has a fantastic entrance as well. But this is with the effects, with the the light beam and everything, kind of makes her look a bit like the female bloody Godzilla or something. I think her entrance is incredible. What I don't like is this kind of you're not allowing her to show what she can do, because she gets into the ring, she hits a big boot, she hits a finisher, 1, 2, 3. That's it.
I'm surprised that they're doing. I said this last week, actually. I said I hope that they don't do what they did in AEW, which was she just comes out 2-minute matches, wins.
Yeah.
She has like a 30-0 match total. I just didn't want that to happen again. And it seems like, going back to what's happened on Raw. Also, I've got a problem with that, and I'll say that in just a minute. But yeah, sort of having squash matches. She doesn't need that. She needs competition.
Yeah.
But the problem I had, just going quickly on Raw, was I thought she signed with SmackDown last week.
Yeah, no, she's a SmackDown, isn't she? But it's Raw After Mania. It's like technically now he's on SmackDown. Technically,
yes, yeah.
So
it should be.
Obviously, the draft is happening in like less than a month.
Couple of weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure it'll all get sorted. But yeah, I just her match. Obviously, it was Naomi and Bianca was doing all the match, and then right at the end, she gets tagged in, and it's like 2 moves, it's over. And then on Raw, she has a match against Chelsea Green. She hits a big boot on her. It's a finisher. 1, 2, 3, go home, done. Like people make this, this kind of thing with Goldberg. But a lot of it wasn't Goldberg's fault. Like, I think Goldberg probably had his Jay's a little bit different. I think Goldberg maybe did have his like limitations. I think.
Yeah, he did.
So I think Goldberg kind of had to be kind of produced that way, whereas Jade wants to learn. She wants to be a better wrestler. This is something that CM Punk has said for the last 10 years about him being pissed off with Vince never giving him a main event of WrestleMania. Was Punk in his head seeing himself as a main event level wrestler? We as fans, even fans that didn't like him, I'm sure would admit that he was main event level wrestler. He was incredible, and I think Punk has always said you can only get to that level where you're a main event level attraction and wrestler if you're put in the main event against main event talent. And Jade Cargill's never going to improve. She's never going to become an incredible wrestler that she has the potential to become if you only give her matches where she comes out and it's 2 fucking moves and goes home.
Yeah, exactly.
She can only improve as a wrestler by having wrestling matches. And this
is what I was trying to prove when I said last week. I hope she doesn't have the run that she had in AEW, because one, we've seen that, and two, I don't think it's like you're saying. I don't think it's proper competition. She isn't going to get anywhere doing that. So,
yes, it makes her look. It makes her look like a big badass, which is obviously what they're going for at the minute.
Doesn't need that.
No, like she already is. She already looks like that. She's like. I mean, I don't. She looks about 6 foot. I don't know how tall she is. She probably isn't, because I think people do look taller on TV than they are. But she looks like this just incredible bleeding ass kicking machine. But she said numerous times since leaving AEW that she wants to get better. She wants to become the best wrestler in the world. Well, that can only happen if she's actually allowed to have wrestling matches. Give her wrestling matches. And the thing is, when you look at Jade Cargill, does she look as intimidating as a Nia Jax? Because I don't think so. Nia Jax is massive. Like she's like the female Andre the Bloody Giant. She's so intimidating because she's so big. You know, like Jade doesn't look as intimidating as that. Yet Nia doesn't have, like, I know she has in the past, but Nia also does have a lot of proper wrestling matches. She just have like squash matches. Even when she first came up, she was having. I mean, I remember one of her early matches. She had a match against Alexa Bliss, and it was a proper wrestling match. And this was one of her first matches. Yeah. So if you're not doing that with Nia Jax, who, is probably the most intimidating looking woman, that we've had since China, then I'm not really sure why you'd kind of have Jade Cargill as this kind of scene. I don't like it. But
no.
There we go.
But that was like I said, that was a pretty. Like, I don't think we mentioned it last week, the match, because we sort of knew what was going to happen with that one. So
yeah. Obviously, next was Sami and Gunther.
Yeah. I love the build up with that, where he was talking to his wife and his kid.
Yeah.
And I always thought something was going to happen that where Sami would use, but I loved that match right through. He used a move that he hasn't used for ages, the buckle buster.
Yeah.
A lot of people, it's really weird because a lot of people went, "Oh, he botched that," and I was like, "You obviously don't know his moveset from El Gordio."
Yeah.
And that was one of his moves. But I absolutely loved that match. And like I predicted, Sami was going to win. Sami liked Sami for years and years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the build up was amazing. Obviously, his wife and his son, and then he has a conversation with Chad, and then he gets to the curtain, and who's stood there waiting for him? Kevin Owens. Yeah. Amazing. Owens is, he gives him a slap and says, "Go out there and get it won," and he obviously did. Yeah. And then I think it was a very, very good match. I think if you look at the first half of the match, it's building for the end of the match. I know a couple of people who said that the match wasn't as like fast paced and wasn't as like as the match wasn't as good as what they thought it was going to be. And I thought, well, they're trying to tell a story in the match as well. If you look at the way that the match slowly built up, and then when it exploded, it can explode. And if you look at the last 10 minutes, it's probably it's arguably the best wrestling of the entire weekend was in that last 10-15 minute period.
Yeah.
It was absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
And Sami beating someone who kind of seemed unbeatable, to be honest. And I think...
it was 666 days.
666. I think, people will say that Roman looked unbeatable, but Roman's had a lot of help over the last 3.5 years. That's the only difference. Is a lot of the big pay-per-view matches, someone's interfered to help Roman win. And that's very, very different. Gunther's absolutely twatted everybody on his own.
Well, I was surprised that no one from Imperium came out. Obviously, they came out with him at the start.
Yeah.
And stood on the ramp, but I'm surprised that they didn't come out and then like Chad came down to rescue or save him.
Yeah.
I like the fact that it was just the two of them.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
No one interfered, and I thought, brilliant. And the way that they ended it was brilliant as well. It also means that Gunther can go off now. I can see him. I can see him easily winning the world title and going on to have some amazing matches. But good match. Really good match.
Yeah, very good match. It could be interesting to see what they do with Gunther now. Is he going to win?
Yeah.
Is he going to win the World Heavyweight title at Bash in Berlin?
Or could they? Because they're bringing back the King and Queen of the Ring again properly.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if they do that properly, because last time they did it properly, the winner was guaranteed a title match at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they use that. Gunther wins it, he becomes King of the Ring, has a match at SummerSlam for the world title.
Yeah. See, I think it's looking like Drew's going to beat Priest for the belt in Glasgow. I'd be very surprised. That's in like 2 months' time, I think. The Clash at the Castle.
I think was it May, June or something like that. I think it is.
So, well, the next pay per view is in France. Backlash is in France, and then I think the pay per view after that is Clash at the Castle in Glasgow. I'd be very, very surprised if Drew doesn't win the belt in his home country. I'd be very, very surprised.
Be huge.
I think we're not even on night 2 yet. We're going 50 minutes.
I know. We need to.
The main event of night 1 was the match: Rock and Roman versus Cody and Seth.
Exactly what I said. Would happen. I was surprised the way it happened. I was surprised for other things happening in that match. I love the fact where the ref was going to count, and the Rock went, "You count, you're fucking fired."
Yeah.
You do anything, you're fuck. And the ref was like, I can't do anything. I think he even sent it to Cody when he was beating up Cody. He was like, I'm sorry, I can't stop this. I can't do anything. He won't allow me.
Yeah, he does. It was amazing. The first thing I have to say, wow, Rock at 51 years old, and
you still got it.
We still got it. But Michael Cole said like 3 times on commentary that this is his first match in 8 years, and it's like it's not. Like his last WrestleMania match lasted 7 seconds. He hit a rock bottom on was it Eric Rowan or Luke Harper? It was one of them. He hit a rock bottom on one of them, and 1, 2, 3, and that was it. Like, that's not a wrestling match. He hasn't had a proper wrestling match at WrestleMania in nearly 20 years. Yeah. So like it's actually been nearly 2 decades since he had a proper wrestling match. And wow, I mean, what I think people I haven't seen too many people mention it, which I think is a shame. Rock was in there with probably the 3 best wrestlers in WWE at the minute. Yeah. And he didn't look out of place. Now that is incredibly impressive. The fact that someone at 51 years old, who's not had a match at Mania in nearly 2 decades, can step in there with 3 of the absolute best and hang with them and not look for a second out of place. That is so impressive. It was
it was brilliant. It was like you didn't really know which way it was going to go. That's the great thing about it. Yeah. Obviously, I said The Rock was going to win. It just seemed, but also as well, which I just went, oh shit, was where Roman speared The Rock. Yeah. I thought, shit, now something's going to happen now. Yeah. But it was brilliant. It set up night 2's main event perfectly. It
was incredible. What they did, like I said, leaning into the story aspect of it. This kind of, right at the start of the match, Rock throws Seth out of the ring, starts beating on him. Ref goes 1, 2, carry on counting, you're fucking fired. Yeah. That's just leaning into the angle that Rock's the boss. And it reminded me of something that that we hate to say his name because obviously the shit's come out about him, but it's reminded me of something that Vince did years ago. That was the sort of shit Vince used to do. Like, I'm your boss, you can do as you're told. I thought that because I think we as fans can get frustrated sometimes when it's they out the ring for ages, they're putting each other through an hour and stuff. And you're like, why is the ref not counting? Like, it's just a normal match. Why are you not counting them out? And I think fans get frustrated when things like that happen. Well, this was like you've shut everyone up. No one can complain because you've had Rock abuse his power and say you fucking you do as you're told. And it also then allowed them, all four of them, to be out of the ring for ages, doing all sorts of brilliant spots. I thought it was incredible. I think something that I've seen no one mention, maybe it's just me reading too much into it, I don't know. If you actually have a look at Seth Rollins' face when he's doing the stuff with Rock, he looks like a kid in a sweet shop.
Yeah,
he's got this just like rock bottoming him on like a fucking steel grate, which is gonna hurt. And he's got a smile on his face. You can see his face is like, oh my god, I'm in a match at WrestleMania with The Rock. You can see it red on his face.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
And he had that. It was like I said, it just set up perfect the main event.
Yeah,
the following night.
It did. Yeah, it did. I think it nice look like aesthetically as well that they both had a belt. It made it look even better that Rock had a belt. He got given a belt at Hall of Fame. Yeah. He got given a belt at Hall of Fame off Muhammad Ali's wife. So it just looked, I don't know, it looked so much more powerful that both of them was holding a belt up at the end. Obviously then leading us into night two. I've got to mention it. Stephanie McMahon is back, open up. In what capacity, we don't know. Apparently she's still actually not under contract with. No, she was just there, sort of thing. Yeah, I think it'd been nice to see her a little bit more. I think she's probably, the only McMahon at like a board level that we would probably want to be a part of it in some capacity. Because I think what Stephanie's done for female wrestling, I don't think can be understated. I think there's absolutely a point to be made that women. We've had, women main event a couple of Manias now. Obviously the first one was Charlotte, Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey. I don't think that happens without Stephanie McMahon pushing for it for years. I think, the crowd went apeshit. When her music hit, the crowd went nuts for her. Then in the press conference after, Triple H basically said, it was nice to see his wife get her confidence back because she felt like she didn't belong there anymore. And it was nice for him to see his wife get her confidence back. And he said, hopefully she understands now that this is her home and that she belongs here with us. So hopefully she's back in more of a capacity, because I think that a lot of the women wrestlers would love to have her there. Helping and guiding them. But then obviously the first match, we've got to get straight into it. CM Punk comes out, music hits, walks down, sits on commentary. And then Seth Rollins versus Drew for the World Heavyweight title. Yeah, both great entrances as well, actually. With all the swords, with all the Scots there as well, with the bagpipes. Brilliant. Then we had, which can only be described as Mardi Gras, come down. I don't know what was going on. I don't know what was going on. I was so confused. It was like, I don't know what is going on, but I'm excited. What the hell's happening? It was brilliant. It was like we predicted, Drew winning. It sort of laid into Becky losing and Seth losing, meaning the both of them are probably going to step away. Drew, Seth, I think he's already mentioned he's stepping away for a while. Without, we'll get to that in a minute. But if you look at the very end of night two, he's fucked. He can't even get the ring. He can't He said he's back in fine, but Owens are carrying him. Yeah, he said he needs to just rest up, and he will do. I've got a funny feeling he's going to be away for a couple of months. Yeah, he'll come back. Yeah. Becky, I've got the new Becky Lynch book, the Man book.
In there, she says she wants more kids. So maybe they're sort of going to step away, and maybe that's what's going to happen while they're away. I don't know.
Yeah, dirty dog.
Yeah. But yeah, look, all Drew had to do was fucking go up the ramp after winning. All he had to fucking do.
Just go
up the ramp, right?
Yeah.
But no, he had to gould over it with CM Punk. And CM Punk, I love the bit that he's like, he rips the thing off his arm, uses that, and then he sort of throws it. And then I was like, oh shit, Priest is coming down. And then it's like, we've had this before. How many times has Priest come down?
Yeah.
Said that he's going to cash in and nothing fucking happens. And then it happened. And then, yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, it was amazing. You know, like the only, and this is the thing is like, obviously my mate Cole was like, everything was so predictable. I literally called that on this podcast a week ago. And before night 2, I turned around to Bex and I said, I'm telling you now, Drew beats Seth, Punk attacks Drew, and then Priest comes down and cashes in. Yeah. And it literally happened. I think a lot of us kind of called it. And
what's brilliant about that?
It was still exciting. Like even though we knew it was going to happen, the way that they did was so exciting. I was on the edge of the seat. It was so
what was brilliant about it was Punk's injured, so he can't have a match at the moment. But he's been keeping it relevant, Drew has, and they're still keeping it relevant now. It was like, oh, you know what I mean? Normally when they're injured, they just sort of fuck off. But they've had Punk there, and they've had Drew doing it on Twitter, on mentioning it as well. And it's like still keeping it relevant. And yeah, it was like I said, it was a great start. It was a great start to night 2.
Amazing start, and I just love CM Punk so much.
Yeah.
I just love him. I love he's like everything he does. He's just so good at what he does. You know, it's like I couldn't stop laughing when Priest pins him 1, 2, 3. The camera cuts straight to Punk, and he's just laughing his tits off. And then he sits on the announce table and crosses his legs like he did when he cut the pipe bomb. Yeah. Exact same stance, sat there with his legs crossed, just laughing his tits off at the fact that Drew's lost. He's absolutely brilliant, you know. And then after that, I don't know if you've seen it. Obviously, for months now, Drew McIntyre's been posting the same picture of like what looks.
Oh like yeah. And Punk's now done it with Mania.
Yeah. But yeah, Punk's like flipped it where it's Drew in the grave and CM Punk's there pointing and laughing. Absolutely brilliant. I think, he needs to be involved in wrestling for the rest of his life because what an incredible mind for the business he's got. He gets it. He knows how to sell tickets. He knows how to sell merch. He knows how to get you invested as a fan. Whether you love him or hate him, you can't wait to see what he does next. And he's so funny. You know, when he's especially whether it's a heel or a babyface, he'll always say something that'll have you laughing. He's brilliant. And then second match, I believe, was Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits versus Final Testament.
Yeah, surprised that we had a special guest referee in Bubba Dudley. I don't know why that was happening, but anyway, that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. You know, there was carnage, tables everywhere. You know, they done the WhatsApp as well, which was brilliant.
My only issue with that match is Final Testament should have won it. Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits did not need to win that match. It did nothing for their careers. It does nothing for them. It doesn't elevate them to anything. Like Final Testament winning that match would have been huge for them, and it would have
would have been a better decision. That's for sure. Yeah,
I don't understand why Bobby and the Street Profits won that match when I think. You know, Bobby and the Street Profits are amazing, but like I think Karrion Kross is underrated anyway. But AOP are just wrecking balls.
Yeah,
like I think realistically, the three of them probably should have won. Like AOP and Karrion Kross together, the three of them.
Yeah, when you it's sort of we've had it lots of times. When you look at it on paper, you think, oh shit, that should have been better, or they should have won. Look at them, and then that happens. It was a good match, but. Yeah, there were certain elements where you sort of went like I just couldn't get over the Bubba Ray Dudley thing. I didn't really know why he was there, other than to provide the table spit where he put the glasses on, and where they done the WhatsApp. I was a bit like, okay, I get that, but yeah, it was just
probably just because there was a lot of tables involved in the match, and
yeah,
it was
it
nice
just
to see.
felt like it just felt to me like, oh, Bubba Ray Dudley's here, and Triple H has gone.
Yeah.
Do you want to Do you want to referee tonight? And he's gone.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
It's like just random.
I don't mind that though. I
Yeah.
don't mind it. I grew up kind of idolising Dudley Boys, Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, the whole TLC thing like that, and I was completely hooked on it. So I was just happy to see him. I think next was LA Knight and AJ Styles. AJ's got new entrance music.
Yeah, got new entrance music.
But didn't really hear a lot of it though, because about 30 seconds into it, he just ran and started attacking LA Knight. So we didn't hear much of it. But
yeah, once again, I said this LA Knight was going to win. AJ's come out recently and done an interview and said that this is he's not got long left. Yeah. He's going to retire in WWE. This is his final run, is what he's turned around and said.
He deserves he deserves a title run before he leaves. One more title run.
Yeah, it was predictable. They've put over LA Knight. They're very big on LA Knight. AJ's put him over clean. It was it was
a decent match.
Yeah, it was a decent
match. It weren't anything special. It was a decent. I was so 50-50. Like that was one of the matches where I genuinely wanted both of them to win.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, someone's got to lose. And I think I just don't like the fact that AJ Styles seems to be losing a lot like this last 12 months, and like he's still one of the best wrestlers on the planet. Like I think he needs to start putting some wins together now, because he's legit still one of the greatest wrestlers that you'll ever see perform live. So next match was Logan Paul, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens.
Yeah, which is why I like I said, I predicted last week. I could see Logan Paul going over just because of the way the two of them were teaming up, and then they started fighting. There was a bit where he pushed Randy Orton into Kevin Owens, or Kevin Owens, into Randy Orton, and he was like, "Fight, go on, fight each other like this." And they both went, "He pushed me," and then they started fighting as well. And then you had Speed there as well. Is that his name?
Yeah, iSpeed. Yeah,
iSpeed. Yeah, he was there. It looks like he's getting all his internet buddies to have a little bit. We had KSI last year.
I mean,
now we've got IO Speed there.
Someone needs to check on Speed. Like, is he alive? I mean, that boot from Randy.
Kick. I know he had a huge kick that booted him right across the like the bit, and then he stuck him on a table as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it like I said, I could just see him winning. I think they're very high up on Logan, and I could see the other two just. It would have been too predictable if, say, Orton or Owens won.
Yeah.
And obviously that will continue on to more program from maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But then where do you go with Randy now? I mean, could he face
Cody?
Anyone really? I mean,
Cody?
Yeah.
Because I think that's the only thing that I can see Cody going to next in terms of story is, Randy took him under his wing when Cody was a kid.
Yeah, part of legacy. Yeah.
That story's already made. I can see Cody's first rivalry being against Orton. I think that'll be incredible. So where Owens goes from here, I don't know, but it's Kevin Owens. Whatever he does, it'll be great because the guy's world class. Is it just me, or is Kevin Owens one of the funniest human beings you've ever, like, everything he does and says?
With the golf cart. He still had the golf cart from SmackDown, and backed it up.
Do you know what it was? Do you know when he asked, Randy does the spot where he slams him onto the table and throws him up onto the table, and I was like, "Can I have a go? I want to do that." And I was like, "Yeah, no." So he does it to Logan, and Orton's like, no, you need to get more height. So Orton does it again and really launches Logan into the air, and Owens like, "Oh yeah, I totally see it now," and they're like high-fiving each other. Oh my
Yeah.
god, Owens is just so funny.
They were having a great time in the ring. That was like you could clearly see they were like, just go out and have fun.
Yeah.
And Kevin Owens turned up with the ball. But yeah.
And
It was
in the press conference, Triple H said that he said to everyone before WrestleMania went live, just have fun.
Yeah.
Wrestling is supposed to be fun. And if you go out and have fun, the fans will also have fun. But Punk obviously touched on it on the interview he had with Ariel Helwani that backstage is very, very different now. It's a very, very different feel. It's a lot more laid back. Everyone genuinely wants to help each other, push each other along rather than it just be, like Punk was saying when he first got to WWE, like just coming off like the back of the Attitude Era, it was very, very cutthroat. It was shark infested waters. It was you look after your fucking self. Whereas now they all want to help each other, push each other, and take each other, further on. And it's a much more laid back atmosphere. And I think you can kind of see the environment that Triple H has created over this last 12 months. That it's different.
It's definitely good. Yeah, it's good. It is good.
Yeah, and it's more people, helping each other. It's a more laid back environment. There's less arguments and kicking off backstage. And it just seems like a happy environment to work in. And when you're working in a happy environment, if you're happy and you're going out and having fun, then we as fans are going to see that. And
yeah, of course, yeah. What was the next one?
Io Sky.
Yeah, I didn't really get the Egyptian theme for Bayley. I was like, why is she coming out to like an Egyptian theme? Because she's had a new theme song as well.
Yeah.
And they were sort of carrying her, and she had all the like Egyptian stuff on. I was a bit like, okay, that's new.
Obviously, something that she wanted to do, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just a bit
different. Yeah.
Yeah, it was different. It was different. And EO as well. I was surprised once again. Damage Control didn't come out, so it was another match where I thought they're going to interfere. Like with Imperium as well, but no one came out. And it was the same with that one. No one sort of came out. So, like we said last week, I could see Bayley. I said I could see EO winning. You said you could see Bayley, and I would have been happy for either. But I think EO's had, like you were saying, I think she's had the worst women's title run in sort of the last couple of years.
Yeah.
They did nothing with her, and she did nothing. I don't really know if that was partly down to her, though. I don't think that's her fault.
No, I just think for whatever reason, she just wasn't really put in any spot.
Yeah, I think she was a bit stuck there. But, it was a good match, solid
match. Yeah, solid match. I was really happy for Bayley. I think Bayley... that was Bayley's first ever singles match at a WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Which I find utterly unbelievable. I couldn't believe that she'd never had a singles match at WrestleMania. I thought that is nuts.
Yeah. It's the same with... It's the same when you look at stats like Asuka. Asuka has never won a match at WrestleMania.
Yeah. Mental.
Which
is mental. Well, so I was really, really happy for Bayley. I think she deserved that moment.
Yeah.
And look, me as a massive CM Punk fan, I think any CM Punk fan that's happy Punk's back owes Bayley a lot, because it was Bayley that rang Punk to say, why don't you come on stage and
why don't you come down and have a look? Yeah.
And like I think Punk said, if that didn't happen, if Bayley didn't ring him and because him going, no, I can't do that, like it'll cause mayhem. And Bayley was basically sort of going, look, they've been friends for years. I really want to see you. I've not seen you in years. And he went down to see Bayley, ended up speaking to other people, burying the hatchet with people like Miz, and he ended up having a brief conversation with Triple H. And I think he said if it wasn't for that just random thing happening, he doesn't think he'd have ever returned. So thank you.
Yeah, he did say, I just want to bring up as well, he did say in that interview as well that people in AEW didn't like it.
Yeah.
And he said the word betrayed was thrown around as well. I was like, really?
Yeah, okay, whatever. we will save all that talk for the next
Yeah,
show.
yeah,
Yeah. I'd go back to making it about Bailey. So happy for her.
yeah,
She
definitely.
moment. You know, it was a good spot as well. It was like the match before the main
For
event.
main event, yeah,
You
definitely
know,
good.
to win that spot, look, she deserved it. If you look at what her and Sasha Banks, but she was obviously women's champion throughout COVID. If you look at what she did throughout COVID, I mean, she absolutely carried the company on her back. It was mainly her, McIntyre, throughout COVID, who basically carried the entire company.
Yeah.
So she deserved that. And then obviously, finally, the last match, Roman Cody.
Well, what? All I can say is what a fucking roller coaster. Jeez, like there was. I was watching it like 10, 20 minutes in. I was like, I could see Roman winning this. I can see Roman winning this.
Yeah.
And then you had people. Now the Jimmy and Jay thing, I knew that was going to happen. Like Jimmy comes out, Jay's going to come out. That was obvious. What I didn't see was John Cena coming out and taking out Solo.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit. Like, and then the dong, and then you're like the Rock comes out, takes out Cena. That was a good bot as well. And it was like they hadn't been in the ring together for ages.
Yeah.
Cena even took off his t-shirt and was like, "Come on, let's do this." And then he took him out, and then it was like the dong happened. It was like, what? No way. The Undertaker, who said he was retired and not going to wrestle again, comes in and not only choke slams the Rock, but does it perfectly, like he's done every time. Like he's never missed a beat with that. Like there was a few times when if you watched the Undertaker over the years before he retired, he struggled to choke slam a lot of people, including Roman Reigns. He stumbled over that, but he done that perfectly. Got proper height on it, held him there, slammed the Rock down, and I was like, man, he's gone away and he's come back, and he's sort of like,
I'm glad it happened because I think no one said Undertaker was going to get no one. It was a complete surprise for everyone. I think a lot of people said Cena and Austin was going to get involved to help Cody.
It would have made more. The thing with Cena, that made sense with Solo because they had a match and everything.
Yeah.
But The Rock and Austin would have made more sense because of their rivalry.
Apparently, they tried to get Austin in, and again, it's only rumours. For me, if you're asking me personally, this doesn't sound very Austin.
Yeah,
in my opinion. Apparently, Austin didn't like the idea of him being one of several. He said, "Look, I don't like the idea of me being one of multiple people that comes out to help Cody. It should be either me on my own, or nothing." To me, sounds very arrogant. Now, look, by the way, this is Stone Cold fucking Steve Austin. He has the right to be arrogant, but he's never struck me as that way. Like, and I think another thing that doesn't make sense is when he WrestleMania 32 or whatever, the one in Texas, he came out as a surprise alongside Mick Foley and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's not done this in the past where he's come out as Mick Foley's music hit, surprise. Shawn Michaels' music hit, surprise. Stone Cold's music hit, surprise. Like, he's already done that once before at Mania, so it doesn't make sense for him to now this time go, oh no, I have to come out on my own. So I don't know, but but I did, like, everyone has said that WWE did try and get Austin, and for whatever reason, it didn't work. I don't know. I'm gutted, to be honest. And I'm gutted because I think it would have made so much more sense for it to be Austin that takes out Rock. But everyone was saying Cena and Austin was going to come out and help Cody. Now, the rest of WrestleMania was so predictable and everything that we said happened. It was nice that we had something massive like Undertaker
coming back,
no one expected it. So in a way, I'm glad it wasn't Austin because when that gong happened, I was like, oh my fucking God. Like, it was a proper moment of genuine shock.
Yeah.
The other thing that we haven't mentioned that happened is, if you say no to this, you're a liar, Kevin. You're a liar. When the Sierra Hotel India Echo Lima Delta Shield happened,
I thought Dean Ambrose was coming.
Honestly, because
mate, I was like, shit, is Dean Ambrose and Seth coming back? What the hell's going on?
because it took so long for Seth to get into the ring after the Shield music hit, and it kept panning to the audience, which is like that was the Ambrose thing. Like even Ambrose does it now in AEW.
Yeah.
Mox's entrance in AEW as he comes out through the fucking crowd.
Everyone was like looking. Everyone was looking around. It's like who's coming? Where's like?
The WWE was definitely teasing that, but like because when we 15 seconds had gone by and we hadn't seen anyone, and then it kept panning round to the crowd, and it kept showing you the crowd, and you're like, but that we know that was Ambrose's thing. Like Ambrose loved coming out through the crowd when he was in the Shield, which is why he still does it now in AEW. So when it panned to the crowd, I was like, oh my fucking god, Ambrose is back. Like, for a split second, I thought, oh my god.
Me too.
Like, obviously it didn't, but imagine if that had happened. Imagine if Ambrose had come out.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And obviously right at the end as well, I got that reference straight away where he's picked up the chair and he looks at Cody and then he looks at Seth. And if anyone, I'll tell you what, if anyone's like fucking do all this stuff, like you're a fucking liar. Because if you say that WWE doesn't do long storytelling, but that just proved everyone wrong. Because obviously that's how Seth betrayed Roman, was hitting him in the back. And he looked and he got the chair and he's like, this is for that. This is for that. Fucking whack. And it was brilliant. And then when he done the first Crossroads, I said to my wife, I said, again, he's got to do it again and again and again. He's got to hit at least 3 times, at least.
Yeah.
And he did. And it was, oh, fucking hell, mate. It was even Samantha there. She was.
Yeah, she could barely say it.
Yeah, she was bawling.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was.
It was just an amazing story.
And everyone came down. Everyone lifted them up. That was. Yeah.
It's it's like I text you right after it, and like I stand by it, and people will say over the top, whatever. For me, that is the greatest piece of storytelling I've ever seen in professional wrestling, in my opinion. And people have different opinion. That story is a decade old. Seth Rollins turned on Roman Reigns and stabbed his Shield brothers in the back a decade ago. And the way that they did it was Seth sold the chair shot the identical way Roman sold the chair shot, where it kind of folds his arms back and then collapses over the bottom rope. It was identical. Yeah. And they've told, amazing acting from Roman, by the way. I think it was incredible acting from Roman in that moment, because you could see it in his eyes. That, in that moment, he looks at Cody and it's like, well, if I hit Cody now with this chair, I retain my title and my historic reign continues. But in that moment, he's actually lost everything. He's lost everything he's built. Cody hasn't finished his story and beat Roman Reigns. Roman's beat himself. Because if he hits Cody with that chair, he wins. But in that moment, it was more important for him to get revenge on what Seth did to him 10 years ago, because he's never got over it. No. I thought it was the best piece of storytelling that I've ever seen in wrestling. I thought it was absolutely incredible. And he ends up losing the belt because of it. It was brilliant.
I mean, I was so, as big a Roman Reigns fans we are, it was like, he's finished his story. This is what it's all led up to. And no one can take anything away from Roman Reigns. He will go down as a legend. I'll be very,
for me, it's the greatest title reign of all time. It doesn't have to be the longest to be the greatest. I think if you look at Hulk Hogan's reign, Bob Backlund's reign, and Bruno Sammartino's reign, they did it in an era where, and to be fair, he was only like 3 months shy of Hulk Hogan's record. Well, but I think when you look at their era, Hulk Hogan was like the guy, and he only really had Andre the Giant, really, like, in terms of like genuine, like opponents that was on his level. And if you look at like Bob Backlund and especially Bruno Sammartino in the 60s and 70s, like there weren't that many top guys. Like a lot of the people that they built in the rings were nobodies. Well, look at the list of people that Roman Reigns has beat in the last 3.5 years. It's the greatest wrestlers of the last 10 to 15 years. Edge is in there. Bryan's in there. Bray Wyatt's in there. Cena's in there. Owens, Zayn, Cody. He's beat everybody. Orton. He's literally beat the best wrestlers.
Everyone. Yeah.
In the last 15 years, and he beat everybody. And he wasn't wrestling. Bob Backlund and Bruno Sammartino were beating journeymen. Really, they were beating guys that they were nobodies. Every single opponent Roman's beat has been genuine top class.
Yeah.
World class talent. It is 100% the greatest title reign of all time.
It's 100% the best, like, modern era. No one's going to touch that now. I don't even think anyone's going to get that close again to having the title that long.
No.
So he'll go down in the history books. I think what we should discuss on our next show is obviously what's going on in the wrestling world, but where we think the bloodline's going to go after this.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing, I think the point that we need to end on, because I think it's quite poignant, is the fact that I think, me included, and I'm sure you'd all hold your hand up and admit this as well, over the last 3.5 years, and you look at what Roman's achieved and what he's done, we at times forget this man has done this with leukemia.
Yes. Yeah.
Which makes it even more incredible. He's been the best of the best and had that title for over 3.5 years with leukemia. Taking a pill version of chemotherapy every single day. And, taking that medication that keeps his leukemia at bay, drains him of so much energy, makes him feel shit. He feels nauseous all the fucking time. Like,
he's hats off to him because of what he's done. Like I said, what he's gone through, what he's done. He's carried the company for such a long time through, like, really shit times as well. You got to think we had COVID, but then when we came back, we had the worst ratings of Raw and SmackDown and everything like that. It was just proper shit time. AEW came along, and you got to think as well that, like I said, it's just we had a really shit time with it all, and he's carried the company through the whole thing, and he has bulldozed everyone. Edge, Daniel Bryan, all these people that are now with AEW, he's beaten. Dean Ambrose, he went through them all, and it's just legendary. It will go down as the greatest title run. I think, like you're saying, Bruno Sammartino and Bob Backlund and Hulk Hogan, they had their reigns, but I reckon this will go down as the
100%.
They even turned around and said that, I think Seth even said it as well, and Triple H, this will go down as the greatest title run in history. Doesn't matter about the days. Not about the days. It's about the run itself.
Yeah, and I think, like we've said, I think him doing it with leukemia just makes it like, when you think about it, how has he done it? And then the level of talent that he's beat, for me, makes it the greatest title reign of all time. And look, I don't think we'll see Roman for a while now. I think it could be as long as 9 or 10 months until we see him again, because I think he'll come back just to have the match against Rock at Mania next year. And I think the main event of Mania next year will be Roman and Rock, and I think that'll be both of their last match. I think both of them could kind of end it after that. So I think finally the last thing we have to say is, Cody's finally finished his story. He's finally done his the first Rhodes to ever hold the belt. I think.
We thought last year might have been the last time.
When he lost last year, I thought that was it. I thought
that. And then we're back this year, and he's finished his story, but the story doesn't end there. He's already said that. I'm
just curious to see like what kind of reign he's going to have. Like,
I'm very curious.
I'm really interested to see, like, is he going to have the belt for only a few months, or is he going to have it for a year or two? I don't know.
He's quite business. Yeah, he's quite business savvy, and he likes putting over the younger talent. And he's at the top now. So like you said, it'd be interesting to see. They'd be interested to see where a few of this all goes. Where where does the bloodline now fit in? If Roman leaves, what happens to the bloodline?
Well, he's gone,
well, this is what I mean. Where does it all go? And then where does Cody go from here? What is next for Cody? You know, it's it's opened a lot of doors. Like I said, it's a new era, so they're sort of like opening new doors and stuff, aren't they? So
I agree.
Yeah, I think we should leave it there.
Yeah,
and then we'll do our normal one on Friday, like we normally do. But look, guys, thank you for listening to us for nearly an hour and a half. We have done the whole lot. We've spoken about so much.
Yeah,
and I mean, there's still more to discuss, but we'll do that on the next one.
Yeah,
because loads has gone down since then as well.
Only a bit, yeah.
Only a bit, yeah. So I hope you guys can join us for the next one. But we'll just leave it there. But yeah, thanks, Dan, for joining us. Now I've thoroughly enjoyed this session. So
yeah, great, yeah.
But as always, I've been Kev.
I've been Dan. See you later, guys.
We'll catch you at the next one, guys. See you later.